An involuntary whimper escaped her lips. "How is he?" she asked, her voice strained. Nisa felt her knees buckle. It was a good thing that she was sitting down. Her brain was still trying to process what her dad was telling her, but somehow it was not registering. She held her breath while waiting for Dr. Ahmad to answer her. A feeling of dread started creeping from the depth of her stomach. Her Horace. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and hi everyone. My name is HANNAN binti Muhammad RIDZUAN, and I'm a Form 4 accounting student from SMK Bukit Indah. I've picked my top 3 favorite books, which are Will You Love Me and Time to Heal by Noor Hafsah Hamid, and also Caleb and Kate by Beth Rebel. But for today, I'd love to share with you my thoughts on Will You Love Me by Noor Hafsah Hamid. Now, before I dive into the review, let me ask all of you a simple question. Have you ever felt lonely even when you are surrounded by people? Or maybe you've wondered if true love really exists, the kind of love that is not just about attraction but also about faith and sincerity. If you have, then this book might just speak to you the way it spoke to me. Noor Hafsah Hamid is a well-known writer in Malaysia who often blends themes of love, spirituality, and everyday struggles in her works. She writes in a simple English and easy to follow, but at the same time filled with meaningful reflection. Will You Love Me is one of her best known works. It stands out because it is not only a love story, but also a story about finding yourself and trusting in God's plan. This book has 352 pages. It was published by Iman Publication. The novel follows the life of Nisa, a brilliant cardiologist who has been living in Liverpool. On the outside, she seems successful, but inside, she feels disconnected and alone. When she finally decides to return to Malaysia, she is unexpectedly reunited with Harris, a man from her past. At first, Nisa is hesitant. She is guarded, afraid to opening her heart again. Horace, on the other hand, is sincere and persistent, but sometimes maybe a little too intense. Their story develops slowly, with both of them struggling with their own emotions, their faith, and their fears. What makes this book interesting is not just the romance between Nisa and Horace, but the way their journey is tied to Islamic values. Each chapter starts with a meaningful quote. Some are beautiful verses, some are reflections, and some are wise words from Rumis. These quotes set the mood and prepare us to reflect on the lesson that come with the story. The main theme of the book is, of course, love. But Will You Love Me goes beyond the usual boy meets girl romance. It shows us that love is not just about butterfly in the stomach or sweet word whispered under the star. True love, as the author portrays, is about sincerity, passion, and trust in Allah. Lisa's loneliness reflects what many of us feel at some point in life, that emptiness, even when everything seems fine on the outside. The story reminds us that we can only feel that emptiness when we learn to love ourselves, to open our heart, and to put our trust in Allah's plan. The book also touches on forgiveness, moving on from the past and giving people a second chance. Through Niza and Haris, we see that no matter how broken we feel, there is always hope when we let faith guide our hearts. One of the things I really enjoyed about this book is how relatable the characters are. Lisa, for example, is not a perfect heroine. She has flaws. She has flaws, the insecurity and doubts, just like all of us. That makes her journey more real and meaningful. I also love how the author integrates Islamic elements naturally in the story. The use of duas, reminders, and reflection doesn't even feel like it is forced. Instead, it makes the book comforting, almost like a friend reminding you to hold on to your faith when life gets tough. Another thing I appreciated is how this book is written in simple English. It's very easy to read, especially for young adults or those who are new to reading English novels. The language is straightforward, but the emotions still come through strongly. When I finished Will You Love Me, I didn't just close the book and forget about it. Instead, I found myself thinking about its lesson long after. It made me reflect on how sometimes we chase love in all the wrong places, when in fact the most meaningful love begins with our connection to Allah. It reminded me that relationships are not just about happiness, but also about growth, sacrifice, and faith. As a student myself, I think books like this are important because they give us stories we can enjoy, but at the same time, they guide us to think deeper about our lives, our emotions, and also our spirituality. So, to conclude my review, Will You Love Me is more than just a romance novel. It is a story about finding yourself, healing from the loneliness, and learning to love with sincerity and faith. This book will make you smile, maybe cry a little, and definitely reflect on your own journey. If you are someone who enjoys light romance but also wants meaningful lessons about life and Islam, then this is the book that I would recommend to you. You can get this book at your nearest bookstore for only RM 30 ringgit. And honestly, that's a great deal for such a wonderful read. Thank you for listening to my review, and I hope you will pick up Will You Love Me and experience its beautiful message for yourself. That's all from me. Thank you.